Today, we have a bit of an announcement to come out of course, DC. So I thought, hey, why not? We'll take a look a little bit at some of the marches and some of the, I want to say, pageantry that's leading up to this. I'll try to cover some of it for you. Hope you guys are doing well out there. And this is Franklin Graham's prayer march. He's already done a couple of prayers, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of this coverage because I think the announcement of the Scooters pick will be later this afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Shout out to anybody in the stream. Also, shout out to the loyal patrons and subscribers. This is a bit of a flash stream, but I will. However, shout out to Derek C. Williams, Killer Will Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goff, Let the Truth Be Told, AZ Infidel, and of course, Cold War Jesus. So just wanted to show you a little bit of, just show you a couple of clips here and there of what's happening. And I hope you guys are having a great weekend. And just wanted you to see a little bit of some of the footage out of DC right now. And I do believe that the announcement is going to take place around 5 p.m. today. So I hope to see you guys around, but I'm going to cover this just for a few minutes. Hope you guys are doing well. And thank you so much for tuning in. A lot more coming right up. All right, guys. Thank you so much once again. This is Black Spring with Autumn on a bit of a flash stream on your Saturday. With so much going on, why not? So we'll have just a little bit of a look at this, and then we'll be back around 5. Yeah, maybe a little. We'll give a little bit on the front of that. I like to try to cover some of that for you with some grassroots citizens that are covering on the ground from ground zero. So hope you guys are doing well, and thanks so much for tuning in.
To be here to support the leaders and to support godly leaders, to bring God into the picture, to take a stand and repent of our ways so that God can move. Hopefully, we're at the very end, I believe, of days, and hopefully God will, give us Trump for 4 more years, because I believe that's what repenting did, is give us Trump. And without Trump, I believe we'd already be under the knife. So that's why we're here, to try and help God give us another 4 years, give us another time from repenting, from following the truth and following God. Because as we see, they're twisting the truth and making the truth a lie, and the lie the truth. And
no sense to us. And we believe in our God, our Savior, and He brought us here. I mean, it wasn't easy. We're getting older. It's harder to walk, but we're doing this for our families, for the world. And we believe that Trump was called to this position, and he needs to finish what he started.
Amen.
And that's why we're here.
So, prayer march very much focused on prayer. I'm just wondering personally, what are some intentions or issues that you guys are really focusing on today and praying for the country?
every day, and they complain about the COVID, but what about the millions of babies that they're killing? It makes no sense to any of us that are here today. We're united. That maybe non-believers or not naysayers, I think that they see something special here. It was unbelievable walking. It's overwhelming, and it was the power of God that just came over us.
Yep.
Guys, what are some special intentions you have here?
So again, and true to come forth and to stand on that. I mean, if good men do nothing, then only wickedness can the lie.
Yeah. The media is their life has faced
Beliefs. It's going. And we've had it.
Greendale, where I go in will be none of this. To take the church out, and this judge is going to be very about the church. It's so wrong. You can come out here, you can wreck our cities, you can burn down Kenosha like you decided to do. You can go ahead and keep burning down Portland, but you can't come out here for this. It's disgusting. I know we're going to go back to that hotel tonight, and we're going to turn on CNN, and that's all they're going to talk about is those masks. Those masks. They're not wearing the mask. Oh, it's just crazy.
What are your guys' thoughts on the SCOTUS nominee and just the attacks that the media has already had on her faith?
Right. So yes, to replace Supreme Court justice is this timing is just, I mean, the most significant thing we could ever imagine, because with this will be a change of power, and that's what the left doesn't want. They hate this because, for us to watch the babies die and to have no, I mean, we fight, and they find every way around stopping the killing of the babies. And so this can hopefully have the change come forth and do away with Planned Parenthood and with abortion, with all of it, so that the babies will live. And there's judgment coming, because God is not going to forget the 60 million babies murdered. Judgment's going to fall. And we're right there, I believe it. We're right at the last days. And America has become the cage of every foul and unclean bird, and God will judge it. And we're trying to stay that a little while longer, hopefully. But with us, we have to repent too, and not be, so in love with the world, but to give our hearts to God and live for God. That's the bottom line.
Now, I want to bring up a topic that was earlier brought up. What was the COVID lockdowns in the church? Not only has that affected the economy, but it's also affected, our faith communities. And I just maybe want to hear a little bit more about the personal stories of. I'm originally from Minnesota, so I know Governor Walz has what he's been up to, and with other states are still locked down. I mean, that's insane. And I just want to hear just more your thoughts on locking down the churches and keeping them locked down and all of that.
So with Governor Walz, I'm from Minnesota. Governor Walz, he has two things he can do with what he's legally able to do. He's done none of them. He's created his own laws. He's changed the law. He's keeping us illegally locked down. He's being sued because of his but it's Minnesota. That's against all the whole country and then out to the whole world. Because once all justice and the rule of law falls, there's our own fault. Then we get what we deserve. So that's what I say to that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for chatting with us. We very much appreciate.
All right, guys, if you're just now joining us, you are watching a bit of the disbursement of the Frank Graham's prayer in DC. I do believe later today at 5 p.m. there will be the actual announcement of the SCOTUS pick will take place in DC. So I'm going to try to bring you that coverage because there are some grassroots journalists that are on the grounds. And so I think you might find that interesting. We're getting to some higher points on this. I don't want to call it a higher points. We're getting to the guts of this whole election cycle. So I'm trying to bring some of these poignant points or these prominent points to the channel so that we can maybe see those things and have that imagery as a part of the dialogue or the conversations. So yes, so actually the Franklin Graham march has been going on for a while now, and I think they are dispersing, but I'm sure people will be returning later around 5 p.m. Eastern time, I believe, is when I think this announcement is going to be made. And of course, as I can echo some of the sentiment from the people that are actually there, is that of course they're going to attack the pick. They're already attacking the pick if it turns out to be who we think it is, but he had quite a bit of a list, and he had quite a bit of a list. So we'll see what happens. Shout out to you, Chaos Cutthroat. Thank you so much for coming in. Thanks so much for Old Head Juice coming in. This is a bit of a flash. This is a bit of a flash, but I will flash back later today. That's the plan, is to flash back later and see if we can't pick up some of the actual announcement today. I'm not sure how that's going to be framed. If it's going, I would imagine that you will probably have some words from a speaker, Graham, or I don't want to, I don't want to do a disservice to his, his place in theology, or his, I don't want to do a disservice in that. So I'm sure maybe it'll be framed by some influential figures or public figures, along with, who knows, maybe there'll be somebody, there'll be current Supreme Court justices present for the announcement today. So it'll be interesting. I'm not sure what I'm not sure what the security's like, or are they gearing up for any type of, the antagonist or the peaceful protesters. I'm not sure what type of havoc or what they're planning to do do this afternoon, or this evening rather, going into the evening out of DC. So we'll see, but I am going to be showing a little bit of that. Shout out to I Hate 2020. How are you guys? Thank you guys so much for coming over from Periscope. It's nice to see you guys here. I love having you guys, and replay. The numbers are just, it's important to have you guys around, and you guys make a difference here. So thanks so much for coming around. I'm hanging around. It's a Saturday. I'm multitasking as always, but so I thought I'd just come in, and I'll be putting some other announcements onto the community tab before the weekend's out, about the new schedule. So where you can find me going forward, and then random streams or whatnot, or flash streams will come up. So not disappearing, just changing, just going to manage the coverage and the reporting a little bit differently. So we'll see, but it's always great. We always have a great time on the Moonlight streams. So I appreciate you guys. For those of you who were able to join on the other night, that was a lot of fun, and we got into some went a little bit off the rails. We had a little bit of a few digressions there, but they were all kind of related, linked, or yeah. So we'll have a little bit more. We'll look at this just a few more minutes, and then I will come back. It is my goal to come back later to see if we can't pick up some of that actual announcement, and to see what is. I'd like to get the drop on the narrative before, get it, as they used to say, get it straight from the horse's mouth before the Mockingbird mania comes out and spins the story, in a three-dimensional cycle that creates more lunacy, and who knows. But yeah, we'll take a look. Hi, Cold War Jesus. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for all that you do. And yeah, thank you guys so much for hitting the channelytics. You know that the reindeer games are up around here. So I wasn't surprised, surprised at how many people were going to come in. Not sure, but it's always nice to have you guys around. And of course, replay works as well. So yeah, I'm going to try to follow this a little bit, and I will try to bring it to you. I might even be able to do something. I might have an announcement for the actual debate as well. So I'll be putting that out as well. And I think we're going to have, we may have a mini panel for the debate next week. So grab your popcorn, your M&Ms, your what are they call those things? The Icon mics, the jelly beans, whatever you do, your favorite soda or whatever you do, bring it, get it ready for the debate, because it's possible I'm going to cover that, or at least it's going to be, I'll be doing that with some friends, or we'll do something, but I'll announce that. So I will keep you guys up to date on that. So let's just have a look at this just a little bit longer. You have a lot of grassroots on the ground, and a lot of citizen journalists that are covering things now because of the lack of coverage, the lack of not only the lack of coverage, but the lack of veracity um, in journalism. These SJWs are posing as journalists, and that's why you don't get there's no substance there. There's no the objective is it's more agitating than anything. So let's just have a quick look and see if this is what else is happening. It's actually, I can tell you just from the visual, just from the imagery here, I can tell that this is a different type of, there seems to be a type of peace that's, in these types of marches. I mean, it's clear. It's a clear distinction. It's a clear discernment that you have, people can actually assemble in a civic society. People can assemble not only peacefully, I don't really see demonstrations here. I actually just see a march. And if you did have demonstrators, I don't think it would be, I think it would still be peaceful. I still think that they would, you could respectfully, be engaged or unengaged, or disengaged, or yeah. So let's just have a quick look there. So yeah, I'm going to see, I think that's something that I'm working on. I'm working on something like that. So I think if the debate would be really, it would be fun. I think it would be fun. It'll be fun to watch it. So let's see what we have here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's see. We'll cover this for maybe a few more minutes. And then, like I said, it's the goal to come back later today, but definitely we'll see what we could work out for the actual debate next week. So let's see what else is happening here. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Shout out to you, Cold War Jesus. I appreciate it. I may even put up a poll or something, but thank you guys so much.
That's awesome. So we are joined here with some more prayer march attendees. If you guys could say just your first names and where you guys are from.
Okay. So I'm Marius, and I'm from Richmond, but originally from Romania.
And your name, ma'am?
Hi, I'm Lana, and we live in Richmond. We're from Romania.
Hi, I'm David, and I'm from Richmond as well. Almost.
So why are you guys here today? Why do you find it so important to be at this prayer march today?
So I think that it's really important for this country to turn its face to God, because I believe that the country has become pretty much self-sufficient to the point where it forgot that God created this nation. God brought the pilgrims here to create this nation. So the nations who know that socialism, it's a great idea, it's a very exciting idea, but doesn't work. And we know that anytime you have government just handling money or funds, they're not going to be they're going to be sort of careless or wasteful in their ways, because they just get money from other people from tax, and it's just going to be wasteful. But we know that in order for this country to continue this country is not the greatest place on earth, and they believe that there are some other countries that are more blessed than the states. And I can tell you that we've traveled to a few countries, and we know that actually the states it is a really blessed country, and people if people do not have if people do not take the opportunity to live the American dream, it's basically on them. They decide not to do that. It's not that they're oppressed. Maybe sometimes they're oppressed mentality that is not it keeps them from succeeding in life. That's why you will look at immigrants, just look at immigrants, and you will see that a lot of businesses, new businesses are opened by immigrants because immigrants come with that desire they're able to open up their own business and be successful. And that's you'll see Americans. I work for I'm working for a company. I've been working for this company for 11 years, and I have people that have been with the company and they're stuck in the same position because they don't want to go to the next level and they don't put in the effort. They're good where they're at, but they don't strive to do better, and that's basically where they're
This
at.
is the American dream.
If you ask them, maybe they will say, "Hey, I was never given the opportunity." I believe that everybody's given opportunities. God is giving us opportunities. It's just up to us to take those opportunities and turn them into success, right? So
Don't
that's
blame other people.
we're here to pray for the nation.
Yes.
We're here to pray that the nation will recognize God, indifferent of politics, because politics can go one way or another.
Mhm.
Okay, we don't put our trust in people.
No.
We don't put our trust in politicians. We put our trust in God,
Amen.
and we're just asking that God will
Bless. this
continue to
nation.
bless this nation,
Yes, please.
but bless this nation with knowledge to understand the times that we're living in, and understand that if something looks good, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily good. If the government is going to give me something for free, that does mean that there's not a cost associated with it. And that's something that a lot of the young people need to understand.
Well, yeah, what would be a little bit more of your message? Because you guys have traveled, you understand what its life is like outside of the United States. What would be your message to people here in the country that hate America, that don't think that it has, all of these dreams like encompassed? And what would be your message to people who think that communism, socialism is the best way to go?
Well, I believe that the very fact that they hate their country, it's not a good start, you know, because if they would believe in God, they would be thankful for what they have. You can, and that's something that when you have that perspective, when you travel to another country and you see somebody that's poor and doesn't have anything and they only have a potato, right? And they all cut it in half and they all share with you. That's when you understand that that's what being thankful to God means. That's when people really cherish what they have and they're willing to share whatever they have with others, right? That's what I believe that this country is lacking, because people have become self-sufficient, self-focused, um, selfish, to the point where um, they will not even look at you and smile. They, and that's because they don't need you. If they need you, they know how to be really nice. Okay, but if they don't need you, you don't matter to them. Okay, and that's what I believe that basically, if people turn to God,
You need to change on
and
the
they
inside.
that's when the change happens in people's lives, and they're they're going to be thankful to God, and that is going to show towards others also, because the Bible says that you cannot say that you love God who you don't see if you hate your brother that you see, right? So it, if hate is not good, we shouldn't hate even the people that are trying to harm us. We should love them just like Jesus loved them. Okay, we're supposed to be Jesus for them, and we're supposed to love them and just show them
Help us.
God's heart in us. Uh, I'm not going to say that we're going to always be perfect because we're not. we're going to fault, but in the same time, we'll try to strive to do better. And
pursue
just
God, not put
we
God on
pursue
the
God,
corner.
not
Don't put
pursue
God in the
our own
corner
interests.
and expect
There's
blessings.
there are several passages in the Bible that say that um, if somebody believes in God, if somebody is a Christian, they should regard others as above themselves, right? Or regard others' needs more than they regard their own needs, right? And I believe that if the world will do a little bit more of that, that's the world will definitely be a better place. I can say that the American people as a whole has actually been doing that because the American people are spreading their wealth to other countries, and they send missionaries and they send help. They send relief. They have relief funds for people that are hit by disasters and things like that. And that's where you can actually see that they are doing God's work in that way, but it's become it's already way too structured, and it doesn't start from people's hearts. It's more like just um, associations where it's more like whoever founded that associated or that movement in the beginning. That's where you can see their hearts, right? So whoever is doing it right now, they're just doing it through they're doing the motion, but they don't necessarily have that heart there, right? So it's for them, it's just a job, it's just a
True
paycheck,
repentance, and
it's
we
just
need
a
to,
paycheck. So
because some of the people are not doing that. Okay, that's the problem. Because
right.
people are doing good, but the evil is here in this country, okay, and all over the world. So we really need to pray so God is gonna work and overthrow, their plans, their evil schemes, so we can live freely in this country.
And a lot of the evil that we're seeing are, these riots that are, and the violence that are destroying so many American cities, as country cities. And I'm wondering what your reaction is to those riots.
So that's something that I mentioned to one of the people that were marching today, and I said, "Isn't this great that somebody had the initiative to call all the people that believe in God and just march for a cause that doesn't involve any destruction, you know?" Because at the end of the day, uh, that if you look at the writers that are destroying. Uh, Buildings or they're destroying businesses, they're destroying others people work. And what is their reason for that? What is their excuse? They say that they've been oppressed and they didn't have opportunities. Guess what?
That doesn't give
The
you a reason
opportunities
to
are there are more opportunities in this country than in any other country in the
Yes.
world. Okay, it's just a matter of them
to
getting
acknowledge it,
take those opportunities and do something with them.
grab it, not
uh,
destroy it.
for me, I've been in the States since 2003. For me, it was a shock knowing that I, growing up in a communist country, I knew that the to live our lives, right? The government was telling us that there was no God, right? But in the same time, I learned that capitalism was just a step in the evolution of society, and the ultimate society uh, working. I had a girl that was working for us, and that girl was making $10 an hour, and I gave her a raise because she was dependable. She was a hardworking girl. She was African American. Her race didn't matter. She would put in the effort. She would do her job really well. And I said, okay, you know what? You deserve a raise. I will pay you $14 an hour. How is that? And she was like, that's great. And she was happy for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, she came back to me and she said that she had to quit. So you had another opportunity to go somewhere else. And she said, no, I'm making too much money. And I She will lose her rent subsidy. She will lose the Medicaid for her kids, and she needed to make $10 an hour. I
That's
offered
so
to pay
sad.
her
That's
$10
so
an
sad.
hour, and she was amazed that I would do that. She was thankful that I would do that. But at the end of the in a position like her, get the crumbs that the government is deciding to give
It's
her
not good.
instead of allowing her, empowering her to take
To
those
try.
all those opportunities that were offered to her, right?
Great. Good.
So that's where I see that a lot of that is going on, and you will have a lot of those people that will vote a certain party and vote certain people into power because they know that if they vote those people will continue to spoon feed them. Guess what? People are not created to be spoon fed. God created us so we would work the land that He gave us and bountiful blessings on this earth.
Do your best.
If you put a seed in the ground will reward that seed that you put in and will give you fruit that you can eat. Just all these just barely survive, right?
Lay low and wait for.
Don't do that. No,
No.
you should take the opportunities to go out there and put your seed,
Work hard.
put your
Do your
effort in.
best.
Perspective. We we very much appreciate.
The concepts, they sound really good, but they don't work. It's proven, it's been proven over and over again that they don't work, and that's something that we should all learn from our other people's mistakes, right?
We don't have
Just
to go
be smart about it.
ourselves.
Uh, you asked me about the rioters, and I diverted a little bit, but with the rioters, what I saw with the rioters is basically what happened in Romania after communism took over. When communism took over, that's when they started demolishing statues. They started just trashing even buildings that weren't that didn't fit the communist narrative, and that's basically to me it was like a sign of times, seeing all those statues that are getting torn down because they might represent something. Guess what? It's they're all the writers. They're not even that smart to where they would pick and choose and say, hey, you know what? That statue that's actually somebody that promoted equality of gender or equality of races, right? No, they're just tearing down because they want to destroy it. So somebody is paying
What's in
them
their
to
heart is
destroy
not
stuff.
right. It's
That's
hate.
it. They,
That's
it,
not.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if that the person that whose statue is over there, if their ideology fit their narrative or not. It's just like no, let's just destroy stuff. That's it. That's all that uh, matters to them, and that's where you can actually see that those people are at the point where they're just being told what to do, and they will go ahead and do it, but they will not think for themselves and decide, hey, wait a minute, is that a good idea? Should I do that or shouldn't I do that? It looks like whatever Trump did with 10 years of prison for tearing down a statue.
Good.
Well, they put some thought into their mind that they're like, oh, wait a minute, should I? Is it worth doing that? Nah, not really.
Where is the
Let's just stay
respect?
home,
Show respect
So,
to the grass.
but at the
To
end
the
of the
bush.
day, it's
To the
not good to
statue.
destroy anything. It's good to build something.
Show some
So that's why
respect.
I'm happy to see so many people
Yes.
that came here to
Yes.
show solidarity with this people and with this nation and just proudly show the flag.
Mm.
It's amazing. You have somebody from Romania that loves the American flag, right?
Yes.
Well, I wear a Romania hat, right? But I still show solidarity and respect to the American flag.
In
I
Romania,
would
I
not
had
do
an
anything.
American flag
Yeah.
and I loved it. I still have it in Romania.
because
people, I coming from Romania, I was in Romania. I would never know I'm gonna move to the United States, but I love this flag, and to see people trample the flag like that. I found this on the road.
on the
I
ground, we
Like,
picked it
no,
up.
I'm not gonna step on it.
We're Americans. At the end
So
of
that's
the
why I
day, we're
picked the
Americans.
flag.
It doesn't matter
I
what
love this
where we
flag.
came
Like,
from.
Why?
Um,
Why so much hate?
it's,
No, love.
and
Love this
it's
country.
there are a lot of things that are being said, even like the white what is it? Not white supremacy, but privilege, right?
Yeah.
Well, she's telling me where's my white privilege for me just coming here with $100 in my pocket in 2003, right? uh, I live in a nice neighborhood. I'm blessed to have a good job. um, I own a business. It's I have a decent life. I've been blessed by God, right? So that has nothing to do with my color. It has nothing to do with any white privilege or whatnot. Are some people in this country racist? Maybe they are. I'll tell you what.
But it's
I
not based
never
on
I never
race
saw race. I never saw
or
race
on
until
color.
people started talking to me about it.
Yes.
Right? It didn't matter to me. But that's when I actually became a little bit more aware, and I realized that, hey, maybe I have some white privilege until I open my mouth and people hear an accent and they're like, oh, oh,
You're
that
quite
dude that with the
you're
weird
half of a
accent.
person,
Oh,
okay?
you
You're
know,
not quite as you're
he's
here.
not uh,
This
that
is
I could have actually taken that and I could have stayed there, pushed down, but I decided not to do that because I said, you know what, I owe it to God to just was.
no better.
So exactly. So that's
But it's sad,
basically,
okay?
if somebody is a racist person, am I going to try to change that? No, but what I'm going to try to do is not mind them and just show
Human race.
we show God's love to other people,
Color
and
doesn't
that's
matter.
when God.
Well, I need to improve my English. No, now I want to know how do I look.
All right, guys, stand by. I have to switch a battery real quick. We're running low on power. I'm going to switch a battery. Stand by. Stand by. Don't go anywhere.
All right, guys. So meanwhile, he's switching batteries out. I just want to thank you guys so much for coming in. Shout out to Unique View. Shout out to Crazy Chick Sheena. Thank you so much. And shout out to Simon Said. Shout out to Old Head Deuce, Cold War Jesus. Thank you guys so much. Chrysler Imperial H, thank you so much for coming in and all you do to support the channel. Thanks so much, everybody. I Hate 2020 for coming in, and everybody from over on the Periscope. Thank you guys so much. Chaos Cutthroat. Thank you guys so much for coming in. But I just want to make a couple of comments. I just want to make a couple of comments related to what he was saying. I mean, of course, you have of immigrants that come to this country from all over the world. When I'm referring to immigrants, I'm saying with the concept of the legal immigrants that come here. See, this is the thing. When you get these smaller networks or smaller media groups or independent media groups, they will report they will report you get more coverage on actual legal immigrants and you get more of their story. They're not going to show you, they're not going to cover anybody that's coming from either that's living in the shadows of the corridors of the nation, or somebody they're not going to show you that, but they're going to victimize them on mainstream media. That's what they're going to do. They're never going to tell the story, because that's the part of the quote American dream, is that people that actually have come here from other places and have been successful and have been actually, they've actually been meticulous and they've persisted and they've followed through. They're not going to show you that on mainstream. They're not going to cover anything like this on any level. They're going to cover it. You'll get it, but it's certainly, you're not going to get it straight from the people. So it's one thing about grassroots and independent media. They actually bring you're getting it directly from the people. You can tell that this is not, those people aren't actors. They're not paid protesters. They're not paid agitators. They're not paid auxiliaries. They're not paid proxies. They're just in the area. And, but yeah, the left has, they do the victimization all day long, the gloom and doom. Oh, you need us, we're your only friends. It's the whole Stockholm syndrome. It's the whole, I love you via oppression. I'm the only one that can do this to you. I'm your only friend. And, this is our secret. What actually happens to you is between us, whether it's good, no matter how the road to hell or whatever was paved on good intentions. This is what, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that from them. So, but it's not uncommon. I mean, we talk about, here on the 60s and, was it Coward and Piven? The whole plan was to overthrow the economy, the U.S. economy, with programs, with the socioeconomic, with the programs, the dependency programs, it destroyed, it broke up, it broke up, I'm sure disproportionately, the Black community and the Black family, but it broke up other communities as well. And, you're not going to get that, but you see, it's the same progressives and the sociology departments. They all had a plan to, by nihilists, to totally just crush any of the values here. That was the plan. And we talked the Frankfurt School, they took over. And that's where you came up with all your isms. You came up with all of these, your Chicano studies, your African studies. You came up with all of your gender studies. You came up with all of these isms came out of those sociology departments. And the founders, Marcuse, Horkheimer, all of these these expats from Germany came here and installed all of these, the nihilist, the Marxism, the critical theory, the race theory, the liberation theories. It came out of your sociology departments, Columbia. And then they went from the East Coast to the West Coast. And of course, you not to mention, what do you have? You had your entertainment industry. Everybody wanted to dominate or to crash what people just being happy, and they couldn't imagine anybody being happy or they couldn't. So there you go. I mean, so that's some of this stuff is, it's just been repackaged. It's been repackaged, but it's not that, like I say, I'm not the originator of this, but nothing new under the sun. It's not new. It's just got a different face on it. It's, they come in cycles. These revolutionaries, these communists, they create their own, they teach you how to create martyrs. You had black people that actually studied in the Soviet Union, and they taught them the whole "we shall overcome" was not originated here in the States. It was actually, it was done everywhere. It was done in Algeria. It was done because they said that, it was done there, the same con. And they put people on the front of it and said that that's what they were fighting for, these people's oppression. But the people lost their lives. It's the same con. But it's about the revolution. Is it about, some people, BLM started out like this. What did it start out as? In order to say it hasn't evolved. It's the same. I think somebody said, Judge Joe Brown was on somebody's show the other night, and he was talking about how they've actually removed some of their manifesto, that they removed some of their manifesto because people are bringing it out, because people are too goddamn lazy. Oh, sorry. People are too lazy to use their fingertips to do something other than social media. But they'll take it from a Charles Barkley or they'll take it. I mean, but it's pretty pitiful that you still need that celebrity or some level of elite to get people to listen and to wake up. I'm just saying I'm just saying it's to certain communities. The Black community, you cannot afford this anymore. You cannot. You cannot afford to keep sitting around and wait for people to bring you news or bring you the truth. You need to arm yourself. You don't want truth. We talked about this the other night. Some people thrive on fraud. Fraud. They thrive on fraud. And they're angry with you because you won't be a part of it. People sitting around. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm telling you, you can, from a demeanor, you can see there's a difference between people that are liberal and conservatives and progressives. There's a difference. It's huge. And what I find it to be the biggest discernment is that people are not happy with themselves. And how do you resolve that? What can Big Daddy government do to resolve your insecurities about you? What can the government do about you being you and you making the choices that you make? Not a thing. There's no, what was it? Who was it that said there's no vaccine for racism? There's no vaccines. There's no vaccine for the way God made you. There's no legislation for the way you were made. There's no legislation for who you are. You have to do something about that. So there's no policy maker that can make everything all right. There's no government that can make everything in your life better, that can make you make better choices. In fact, nobody can make you do anything. But in some cases, I used to have a teacher and say, I can't make you do anything, but I can make you wish that you had. Shout out to Cold Horse Jesus. Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. It's, the government wants to be in everybody's everything. They want to be in these families. They want to be in your wallet. They want to be in everything. But see, that's when I got off on that other part about the beginnings of the sociological and the sociological perspectives that got us to these critical theories, but they also euphemized single parenthood. You know, they did. And they, and then when you had like all these groups, these radicals, these ACLUs, they would get involved if an application required them to put down, who the father or something like that, and then they would sue. So, but they basically stepped in right there, and they haven't taken their hand. They haven't been out of the bedroom since. Say, oh, that's private. Oh, you can't ask her who the father is. You can't, because I'm taking care of her. I'm taking care of this woman. You can't ask her that. I'm gonna sue you. But if you just look, if you go into the 50s, you go in the 40s, you would see that families were intact. In fact, back then there was they talked about that being that the family unit was Eurocentric. That's what they called it back then. It was Eurocentric to have a family intact. So there's been propaganda. They've been poking and prodding and doing a number for decades now. And I'm not the finger pointer, but I'm saying, somebody had to have seen something going on before now. But I'm saying, we're at the last dance. Because these progressives, these liberals, these fringe friends associations, these fringe NGOs, they are directing traffic, and they are ready. They are ready to make this a secular, to seal the secular deal on this nation. They are. I mean, they've taken the prayer and all of these things out of schools. They've taken all of it out. But you got people kneeling in the name of something else. Kneeling and raising their fist, shaking their fist. Who are you shaking your fist at? What is that? It's communist to me. As fraud. It's a fraud. It's the age of fraud. Shout out to Simon said. Simon said the Black community is targeted the most by communist propaganda because it simply had the more grip on the demographic. Well, I'm going to tell you, I just, at some point, I just think you're running out of excuses. You're running out of excuses. There are things that we didn't have, that people didn't have 40, 50, 60 years ago. And the thing about it is that self-education is reading. You have to read. You can't, it's nothing wrong. It's great it's great to read to read to your kids, but they have to read to themselves. That's a part of education as well. And I think just because of the way our school systems and all the indoctrination that's gone on, we're so conditioned to have somebody in front of us. We got, on one hand, we say teach, and on the other hand, they're instructing. They don't teach in college. They instruct. They do more instructing. But then when they have an opportunity to teach, they don't tell you why they're teaching you this concept. Oh, I got to write this paper. Well, why are you writing this paper? Or why? Can you tell me why you have to do that? And that's all. And then I never hear, what does that actually mean when you say you have to do this? Why? Why are you doing it? It's a bit amazing times, But the excuses are getting old and they're getting stale. What you don't, what was the saying? It used to be, what you don't know what you don't know can't hurt you. Well, that's not true. Whoever said that is not, it's not true. That's a lie. It can't hurt you. What you don't know can hurt you. But then you have some people, they're such frauds, they're totally comfortable saying that they don't know, but then they continue. But then when they learn better, they still do wrong. What do you call that? So shout out to everybody in the stream. So what I'm going to do is, this actually going on a little bit. I appreciate you guys so much for coming in. So what I'm going to do is, actually, I'm going to probably come back later when it's closer to the announcement time. I'm going to try to bring that to you. I think, let's see, I'll do one more check here, and then I'm going to pack us up and fold us in and pack us up for this segment. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I will give you guys a break and whatnot. I really appreciate it. And so we'll try to see if we can get back here with some coverage on the announcement. I think it's 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so we'll see what that looks like. And I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Simon said. Cold War Jesus, thank you for all your support. Thank you guys for taking care of the Channelytics Unique View. Thank you guys for coming in. Old Head Juice, always nice to have you here. And Crazy Chick Sheena. And let's see, who else did we have? We had I Hate 2020. Thank you so much, the followers on Periscope. Shout out to Carlos Martinez. Thank you so much for Reborn for coming in. Thank you, Chrysler Imperial H, Cold War Jesus. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens later today. And I think that's going to be somewhat prime time. And yeah. So you guys have a great rest of the afternoon. And maybe I'll see you guys back